present some interesting cases that he's been looking after in his own clinic. With some learning points and perhaps some discussion afterwards.
Thank you very much, Patrick, and for giving me this opportunity to be here today. It's a pleasure. I worked in the Glasgow Island family field years back, and it was a lovely time. So Glasgow is I'm familiar with, and it's a pleasure to be here today. So I'm going to discuss a few interesting cases, as they say. I hope you like them, but these are the cases that I've encountered in my clinical practice while working as consultant rheumatologist at the Wrexham Hospital. So, more declarations. This is something I like this slide. Something which appeals us and we are interested in a lot of the times, not only us as rheumatologists, but for general practitioners. You get a lot of calls from them. CK is risen, person has got aches and pains, and can you tell us what's going on? So CK sounds a nice perfume, but a lot of the times it can be a pain as well to sort out this sort of thing. So clinical cases, some learning points hopefully, and at the end discussion and questions. Case 1, 66 years old gentleman with a history of gout, chronic back pain, power and sensation deficit in the left leg, some shortness of breath on insertion, rash on the leg, and he thought that whether that is related to an insect bite 16 months ago. So this is someone who is having a bit of aches and pains, a bit of chest symptoms, a bit of rash. You don't know whether it was related to the insect bite or whatever. CK was over 1,000, 1122. So the diagnosis. So the person had presented to A&E, and obviously we were called in. So I reviewed him in the clinical decision unit. His DVT was excluded. Frankly, he did not have any classical myalgia or symptoms. Symptoms were more in the left leg rather than generalized. He did have shortness of breath, but that was not too bad when I saw him. Chest X-ray in April 2015 was unremarkable. On examination, he had settled non-specific pressure on the left ankle. Power was 3 out of 5 in the left leg, other limbs 5 out of 5, so no power deficit in other limbs apart from the left leg. He did not have any synovitis. Systemic examination was unremarkable. I saw him subsequently in the clinic in July 2015. He had back pain as usual with similar radicular symptoms. He did not have any GI or urinary symptoms, no settled anesthesia. His myositis screen was all negative. ANCA and all the rest of the autoantibodies were negative. We got an MRI scan, which suggested spondylitic changes, disc bulges at L2, L3, L3, L4, and also severe spinal canal stenosis and crowding of the cauda equina with a diameter of 5 mm. And as usual, the radiologist suggested a neurosurgical advice, which was done. Was seen by spinal surgeons, but not for any intervention. This is the image. You can see he has got quite significant stenosis here at L4, L5, which is impinging the spinal cord, and possibly the exiting nerve roots, more so on this one. EMG was done January 2016, which suggested left tibialis anterior L5 demonstrating 1+ neurogenic change. This was more marked in the left gastrocnemius S1, where there was 2+ reduction in the recruitment and 1 to 2+ active denervation. So the opinion was very much in keeping with the MRI findings, and the EMG neurophysiologist suggested that this man is losing nerve fibers in predominantly S1 more than L5 territory from an intraspinal process. This likely represents spinal canal or perhaps pyramidal stenosis, very much in keeping with the MRI findings. So it is very interesting that these tests are usually operator dependent as well, and if it's done by the right person, you get the right answer. So basically, this was a case of denervation myopathy secondary to severe spinal canal stenosis, what I call, or in other words, atrophic myopathy. So the tree roots model, if you cut the trees, you'll get dry branches and the dry leaves and everything. So that's the concept of denervation basically. If the nerves are affected, if they are compromised, then you will get a problem with the neuromuscular bundle and the myofibers and the muscles itself. Case 2, 58 years old gentleman referred to rheumatology in October 2014. Myalgia, again, once again, the raised CK, more than 1,000, reduced power in both upper limbs and right lower limb, 4 over 5, did not have any motor signs, sclerorectory or calcinosis. Stomach examination was unremarkable. Interestingly, his EMG was absolutely normal. MRI of the lower limb suggested fatty changes, but no evidence of active myositis. He was scheduled for routine muscle biopsy, which showed only non-specific changes with no evidence of a metabolic problem. Antibody screen was negative, but only the myositis screen, autoantibody suggested anti-PLS, CL75 positive, suggesting scleromyositis. August 2015, he was reviewed again. This time he was complaining more of back pain. The back pain was rather more intermittent, coming and going like flares. His CK then was over 2,000. I got an MRI on him, and that suggested, once again, fairly atrophic changes of the paraspinal muscles, symmetrically and bilaterally. So there was something going on, but no active myoedema as such. I spoke to him on the phone after the MRI scan, and he was really well. He did not have any problem at that time, and I thought, okay, I'm going to see him in the clinic. This is his initial MR of the lower limbs, which is suggesting quite a bit of fatty changes here in the right leg. The spinal muscle, just a slice of that, suggesting quite significant paraspinal muscle fatty changes. But again, there was no evidence of active myedema, although the CK had risen. Clinically, his pain was coming and going, so it looked like inflammatory and sounding inflammatory, but that was the MRI finding. CK was just over 2,000. I reviewed him again in January 2016. In his own words, he said he's spot on, and I thought his diagnosis in keeping with PMS CL75 positive myositis with significant paraspinal involvement. The question is that, would you treat someone on the basis of CK only? Clinically, the gentleman is quite well. He does not have any pain at the moment, but there is this process going on, and the findings were very much symmetrical. He had similar changes in the calves as well and paraspinal muscles. And I haven't really put that next slide, but I got a recent phone call, and the GP said that, well, the CK has actually gone up. Clinically, he does not have any pain, but his CK is over 4,000. The question is that, do you really treat it? The concept of treating early arthritis, you treat to control all the inflammatory process, to reduce the chances of any erosions, is the similar thing I was thinking about, and I thought I'm going to see him again to discuss whether we should really start on anything.